chance, bro.
People cannot afford to buy a home. Let's talk about it.
Oh my god! I love going to work and working full time and still not being able to afford a house. I love that so much. Thank you, world.
She speaks the truth. And I think she's from Australia, and I can guarantee you there's a lot of Americans that agree with what she's saying. Yeah, guys, right now is probably one of the toughest times to be able to afford a house. My day job is that I'm a mortgage broker, so I'm talking to home buyers every single day about trying to get into a new home. And I'll be honest with you, even living in a relatively low cost of living area in the middle of the country, it's still very tough to afford a house right now. Now, if you guys are in the process of looking to purchase a home, I am a mortgage broker. I have my email down below in the description. If you guys want to reach out to me, I'll be more than happy to help you try and get you into your dream home. So if you guys are interested in working with me on buying a home, or maybe you need to refinance, reach out to me, JJ at First Team Mortgage. Thanks, guys. Yo, seriously. Oh man, so I will say, anytime I'm looking at a file, right, a file of a buyer, and I'm talking to them and I'm letting them know, like, okay, this is what you can actually afford to purchase. Now that may not mean their budget can afford that, but just strictly on guidelines, this is where I can get you. And then you look around and
Yeah.
see what's available, on the market right now. For that
Yeah,
price
come
range.
on. You open the door though. Open the door.
There's not
You got
much.
the camera on?
Yeah, I can turn it
There
on.
is something.
I don't know what to say.
It's usually not the greatest.
Okay.
And sometimes these loans that buyers are getting into, FHAs, they can't even buy them with an FHA because it needs too much work. So this is another big problem right now, guys, is people are, getting approved for loans
Americans get what they want out of the economy, what is the plan? And I like this breakdown. Kem here says, you did not already understand this is the approach of the White House, okay? They want to slow demand in the real economy and hence slow inflation. Right now, sticky inflation is what's stopping them from actually fueling the economy and loosening conditions with lower interest rates and effectively some form of QE. I know they want some form of QE, but they at least want super low interest rates. Okay, so they're going to do this effectively with a bit of pain, and that makes sense out of the next 6 to 12 months. They're going to cut government spending, cut government employment, cut Medicare, cut SNAP food assistance, school lunches, cut low-income housing. Effectively, this is what they are saying they're going to cut. I mean, this is what someone is assuming they're going to cut. I don't know if this is true. They've certainly explicitly never said things like cutting Medicare. So I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but this is one theory, right? Is that they're going to cut spending, which is going to slow down the economy and effectively kill inflation. But it will probably also, if this is true, cause some form of recession or mini recession. Then they're going to effectively step in and stimulate, right? And that's what their plan is to offer some tax cuts and deregulation. And so he theorizes that effectively in about 6 months, once the cyclical deflation takes place, the 6 to 12 months of pain, then they step in quickly and smash the button with quantitative easing, looser conditions, lower rates, QT to QE pipeline is complete. Now, if this person is correct, then that means that we could have a recession here. Now, I want to be clear. I don't believe a recession is coming until I actually see it happen. But it's good to be mentally aware that that could be what's throwing off this entire bull run right now, is we would have had this next explosive moment upwards if we weren't walking such a tightrope of Fed QT and interest rate hike. No, we're going to cut. No, we're actually going to pause. No, we might hike again. Oh, actually, inflation is sticky. Oh, no, it's gone. It's very, very unclear where we're at with inflation, and that's leading to an unpredictable Federal Reserve, which is why the markets are saying, which direction? Where are we going? Now, after this massive comment about, okay, a crypto reserve will have XRP, SOL, ADA, leading all those assets to pump up like madness, like wildfire. And then people were saying, okay, wow, this is going to be a shitcoin reserve, you know? Like, what does XRP and ADA actually do? Are these worthy of being on the national balance sheet? And people are having all these objections, like, why would the government spend our money on Cardano? Like, how do you rationalize that? How is that a step forward? And you know, Eric Trump saying, we love the genius of announcing this on a Sunday. They really think they cooked here. But the reality is that then we see comments like this. Nobody announced a tax or spending program. Maybe you should wait to find out what's actually being proposed. Which I said, yikes. Because that's effectively them saying, okay, so they're not going to tax or spend on this crypto reserve. So are they going to buy? Or is this just yet another hand-wavy thing where they're expecting for Cardano Foundation to donate $1 billion in Cardano? And now all of a sudden, the government has a crypto reserve with Cardano. But what did that do for your average Cardano holder bro or based sis? The reality is that we don't know. Nobody knows. And right now, this uncertainty, this stoppy-startiness, mixed with every day a new tariff, a new this, a new that. Is it going into effect? Is it not? This stoppy-starty stuff out of Trump with the macro policies, with the trade war policies, well, these might long-term be amazing. Short-term, they're causing markets who are already in a gentle position here to be very much so on edge and start breaking down. And it's not just happening in crypto, it's happening in mainstream markets, in NASDAQ, in S&P. It's happening across the board. And it begs the question, is that exactly what they wanted? Is that what they've wanted out of this situation? Is to crash the markets so that they can effectively kill inflation and begin a new business cycle with lower interest rates, lower prices on housing, lower. They can effectively break the markets and rebuild them. That is typically how everything works. And then in the process, they can inflate away the debt and do all the things that we've expected them to do. That is the question. Are they intentionally trying to crash the markets very quickly in Trump's term and then flip on the money printer and have everything return to health by the time there's another election? Again, I encourage you guys to follow me on Twitter. I put up this chart on Twitter yesterday. I also made the video where I explained my plan to take profits into the 90K ounce region. We actually got that region, but I was even more specific on Twitter because I wanted there to be a very, very clear cutoff. What I was surprised about is that we were actually able to close a candle up here above this sort of full bull risk on metric. But I was a little bit unsure because it was so close to this flip into the bullish control zone that I was shocked. Obviously the weekly looks absurd. Like the weekly candle is the most insane weekly candle I've ever seen in my life. You can see I don't think there's actually been a weekly candle as crazy as this. This was a total gap of $18,000 on a weekly candle. Absolutely insane. But what you see is that we almost immediately reversed right out of there, showing that there's not really support here, and that this pump up into this region was triggered by that Trump tweet, but it was just the mechanical bounce that I was expecting anyway, but it was just a little bit more powerful than it would have otherwise been, because the whale saw a chance to sort of, you know, bait people in with this crypto bill, you know, that we don't know anything about. So I tweeted this yesterday because I think this is really key. I said, okay, look, here's a breakdown, right? Uncle Sam may soon become Daddy Sam, buying our shit coins. But the details of how much and when, these are what determines whether or not this pump is real. Otherwise, this will probably just have been the catalyst for the retest. Again, so I put this up yesterday. It's showing, it's right on the line here. You can see the lines I drew, and I drew these, was this back on the 25th, I drew these lines into the chart because I was making a video that I had to scrap because price moved too much, and honestly the video just didn't work as well. It didn't make sense to be putting up. It would have made a lot of sense if I'd gotten it out yesterday, but anyway, I was predicting for us to bounce up and to try to essentially challenge this region and then fail. And given all these macro issues that we're having, I see this lower end of this range. I mean, if you see this move over here, it was super thin. This whole move was almost no structure here. It didn't pause. It didn't really build structure at all throughout this whole move. And that usually means that if it goes the other way, it can go just as fast the other way. So I feel like this bottom end of the zone here, this prior all-time high, and then the impulse where we started the pump, like anything between this in this demand zone is probably an insane buy if we can get anything in here. I don't know if we'll go that low, which is why I have the nibble zone here. The nibble zone is where I'm going to start buying. Obviously, the red zone is where the goal was to raise cash. So if you didn't have any cash, the goal was to sell some into the bounces that we had like yesterday. I was even a little unsure because we closed the weekly out here. But at the same time, if we come back again, which is totally possible, we could bounce right back up into this area and retry it again. You might get another chance to sell something. But I do think that as you get down below 80K in any meaningful way, that's where you should start looking at getting back into the market and getting risk on. Because long term, I believe that these will be generational buys. Bitcoin is going to $1 million. And the question is, if you can get some Bitcoin here in the 70K region, I think it's very cheap. That being said, I do think the worst this gets is this blue box down here. And I have only if recession, right? Which is where we'll test the bottom end. Back where the Trump pump sort of truly began. This was back when the bullet happened, when Trump got shot. And this is when the real downtrend got reversed, is because we had this whole euphoria of a pro-crypto president being a reality. Now, this is the worst case scenario. If we get a retrace down to the 50K region, that's where it's just like every penny you have should go into the markets. But I want to be very clear. If no recession, I think that this purple zone is the ultimate worst case scenario. If there's a recession and there's actually some kind of real break in the economy, home sales start plummeting, other types of massive cool-offs, then I don't think we get a rally at any point this year. I think we go do the recession thing and we wait for Q. But if we don't get the recession, which mind you, the people predicting recessions do it every single day for 10, 20 years, and then the one time they're right, they claim the cloud. I don't like doing that. I've gotten suckered into the macro recession boomer thing before. I don't believe in it until I see it. But the reality is, my plan right now is very simple. I'm looking to get heavy buys for everything that's not in the market right now into this purple box, hopefully. The nibble zone, I'm going to be nibbling, and in the middle, I think we have kind of like a no trade zone. That's kind of where we're at right now, is we're really just in the middle. We're diddling in the middle. Maybe this is the ultimate low from the other day. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not convinced because there's not really that much buying demand around 78K. There's just not really any structure here. I'm just not convinced that that's the ultimate bottoming formation here. Keeping it very simple, if we bounce back up into the red, I'll be looking to sell a bit more. If we somehow make it and start getting accepted above the green and, you know, we start doing like this, that's when I'd start saying, okay, well, maybe we need to buy higher and get back into the market. But most likely we'll probably diddle around in this red zone at the best and then come down and check out this yellow and purple zone. Remember, the whole point of my last video, was to say that I'm not just gonna be offense only, I'm gonna have offense and defense mode. This is what defense mode looks like. I know it's less fun. It's important to stay grounded here. What we just saw is that the US government is going to be potentially buying or storing or hoarding or collecting our altcoins. If you told this to someone even 1 year ago, it would have been considered like seeing a white buffalo, alligator, dragon creature flying over your house. It doesn't make any sense. It's a fiction. It's a fantasy. And yet, this is the fantasy that we're living. So it's really just a question of when this market ends up printing, because the direction is insanely clear. And we need to understand what's causing this rocky period, not just in crypto, but in all markets. Well, it's the uncertainty, it's the macro uncertainty, it's the already fragility of the US economy, it's the inflation problem still not fully going away and not allowing the Fed to fully loosen conditions. As you can see, total 3 here is getting pushed back to the lower end of the range. That bounce just got completely destroyed. Very tricky stuff here, but if we look at the actual altcoin strength, we can see total 3 minus the stable coins. What we see here, and I'll switch back to the daily here, what we see here is that we had this attempt to get back above this resistance, and it got slammed down so hard, you got to kind of see this as a deviation. And so I'm expecting for these to go and be explored in this range, which again would mean that we'd be getting to historical low ranges for the altcoins. Now, of course, this would be the ultimate low range that historically has been explored, which again is why at this point I was just switching to defense mode. It's not that I'm bearish on crypto, it's that I want so much more of it when we do flip back onwards and upwards, which to me is a question of when, not if. And until then, I'm just feeling like all of the catalysts that we had, all of the excitement for Trump, all of the hopium for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the deregulation, all of these things are long-term, massive tailwinds, but they haven't gone into effect yet. We don't know exactly when they'll go into effect. So the excitement off of the Trump election is pretty much worn off, if not wearing off. And now we need to wait for the next impulse, which is effectively to understand where the new money coming into the market will come from. I believe this is all a journey to get to $100 trillion market cap, and that this industry is going to go bananas. But right now the goal is to figure out how to buy the absolute most amount of these assets on the dip. And that means selling into the range highs and buying the range lows until we're able to see a new stimulus. So there you have it. We got our mechanical bounce, this time created by a tweet by Donald Trump. It's pretty clear at this point that any tweet or any comment from Trump or anyone else is not going to be considered a lasting stimulus on the market. We've run through all of the word service and all of the nice thoughts and dreams. Now we need actual new money coming into the market. We need to understand where that new money is coming from. Now, if they loosen conditions, if they cut rates, if they actually start adding Bitcoin strategic reserve to the balance sheet, they're actually going to buy it. Those types of things could change this market around in a heartbeat. But until then, the real question is, when are we going to explore the lows of the range? I think that that's going to happen. And if you don't have any cash on the side, you should be looking at these bounces up as a chance to raise some cash, like I said in my last video. And I will be going in extremely hard, chucking in everything I have at the lows of this range. That is, unless we get a recession. If we get a recession, then I'm pulling stuff out and I'm waiting to buy until we start to see the bottom of the pool. As always, this was not the plan. This was not how the 4-year cycle was supposed to go. And that again shows us that this maybe isn't the 4-year cycle anymore. That essentially Bitcoin is just responding to global liquidity. It's a global asset now, and it's just going to respond to, as the markets loosen conditions, it's going to explode. As they tighten conditions, it's going to contract. More money in the ecosystem finds its way into crypto, less money finds its way out of crypto, and that using the 4-year cycle mentality is something that's only going to get me heard, whereas understanding the actual impulses on the market is going to set me up for success. Now, if no recession, I'm buying the range lows and I'm expecting a massive rally later in the year, either in the next month or two, or more sustainably in the second half of the year. If there's a recession, you got to throw that out and evaluate. If there's a huge collapse in the stock market or something like that, you got to throw that out and reevaluate. But until we get that, this is the plan. And I hope you guys enjoy the plan. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Again, I know scream bull, but this is the first time I feel like, okay, I have a chance here to get even more coins out of this industry by selling the red, buying the purple, and getting prepared for another rally either in the next few months or in the later half of the year. Again, it's all pending no recession. As always, I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, I'm going to keep it coming with as much timely and useful content as I can. Like the video yesterday, I know a lot of people were mad, but look, that's just what played out. It's exactly what played out. Let's see if I can keep getting it right, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.
So I want to encourage Pennsylvanians to speak up, to use their voices, to do it constructively, to not retreat. This is a moment to make your voices heard.
Some extreme members of the Michigan legislature are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn marriage equality. Here's my response to that. Hell no.
I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. We are not. We sure as hell are not going to start now.
My oath is to the Constitution of our state and of our country. We don't have kings in America. and I don't intend to bend the knee to one. Tyranny requires your fear and your silence and your compliance. Democracy requires your courage.
They are right now and will continue to be some of the most essential and trusted voices of dissent and opposition in this brand new era. Governors, Democratic governors in state houses all across the country. It'll be up to them largely and others to continue to give voice to the American people who see something profoundly wrong with what is happening, not just in these first few weeks, but most likely over the next 4 years. It's a privilege to bring in Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Nicole.
We played a whole bunch of your State of the State address. I want to play one more piece of sound before we jump into this.
If you think I'm overreacting and sounding the alarm too soon, consider this. It took the Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes to dismantle a constitutional republic. And all I'm saying is that when the 5-alarm fire starts to burn, every good person better be ready to man a post with a bucket of water if you want to stop it from raging out of control.
Yours is an assessment I've heard from former senior national security officials, but only privately, and you're the only one to say it publicly. Say more about your decision to do that.
Well, I should start by saying that my family escaped the pogroms in Ukraine in the 1880s, and it was when the Russians were coming to kill Jews. This country, the United States, provided us with the security, safety, opportunity to, well, just to live. And of course, I should point out that it was a public school that gave my great-grandfather an education, and a public service, a public health agency that gave them a place to live. And so I am very grateful to be an American and believe very much in protecting all the rights of the American people. I also built a Holocaust museum with Holocaust survivors here, and I can tell you that in 1933 and 1934, the German Constitutional Republic was converted into a dictatorship in a very short period of time. And anybody who walks through a Holocaust museum and sees the chronology can see that when rights get taken away, when the services to people are diminished, when all of a sudden we're favoring one group of people over another, that's a danger that we ought to all pay attention to. I'm seeing that in this country right now, and I needed to speak up. I needed people to hear that. And I think that, we're seeing gradually an understanding that we've got to speak up. People need to show up and speak out.
What is it like to be a Democratic leader in a moment where the people, the only people standing up for the rule of law in terms of elected officials and the Constitution and rights, basically equal rights, are Democratic leaders?
Yeah. I'm concerned. People need to speak up now. It's not later. There needs to be a wake-up call. And I do see, you played some of the video and clips from other governors, but it's the people that they represent that are speaking out, showing up at town hall meetings, that are going to make the biggest difference. Meanwhile, you need to see Democratic leadership on this subject. And by the way, Republican leadership, there are plenty of Republicans out there that do not agree with what's going on in Washington, D.C. Now, the elected representatives in Washington who are Republicans are apparently too afraid to say in public what they say in private. They know that Donald Trump is off in the wrong direction. They're just afraid. They're afraid to lose their elections. Democrats shouldn't be afraid. We've got to speak up right now.
Can Democrats protect the rule of law in America by themselves?
It's going to take the judges who are hearing these cases in court. It's going to take Democrats taking those cases to court. It's going to take average folks out there showing up and protesting. Remember what's happening, and you've been talking.
to episode 525 of the MTG Goldfish podcast. I'm Seth, probably better known as Saffron Allen, and we have the full crew here this week. Kicking things off with the owner of MTG Goldfish, Richard. How are you this fine Monday, Richard?
Good morning, Seth. It's a good weekend. Like some throwback to Saturday morning cartoons with the recent spoilers, surprise spoilers. I'm very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, we jumped super far in the future with spoilers, but we're gonna get to that in a minute. We got another co-host in Krim. Good morning, Krim. I heard you stayed up all night playing some video games. How was your weekend?
I don't, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. The sun is like cracking through my window. It's kind of weird. I think I messed up my sleep schedule again because of Monster Hunter. So,
I've never played Monster Hunter. Is it good? Should I play it? No. Okay. That's the problem.
The problem is never if an MMO is bad, because then you just don't play it.
Yeah. Anyway, for today's cast, we got a few big topics. So we're gonna start off with the surprise Spider-Man spoilers, and then we got some extra news kind of attached to the Spider-Man set. I want to talk a little bit about price increases that are also coming alongside this Universes Beyond stuff, what that means for Standard, maybe get into Mark Rosewater's list of the most influential card designs of all time. So those are the main topics for today. But before we get into that, a reminder that today's show is brought to you by Card Conduit, and Card Conduit's the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. If you ever get tired of the hassles of buy listing, you can skip over Card Conduit. You can use their curated service, resending as many cards as you want with a buy list value of $1 or more, and pay just a 5% service fee. And if you want to do a bit of work, you can use their sorted service, where you list and sort your cards in advance, and pay just a 2% fee. Either way, you're going to get a detailed report with the results and a fast payment once your order is processed, and you can even get another 10% off by heading over to cardconduit.com/mtggoldfish. Card Conduit, it's the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. So thank you to Card Conduit for supporting the show. And let's talk some Magic. And let's start with what is definitely the biggest news of the week, which is a couple of days ago, out of the blue, this article came up from IGN, I believe, with some spoiler cards in it. But these are not spoiler cards from Final Fantasy or from our return to Tarkir. We're jumping all the way ahead to September to talk some Marvel Spider-Man. So we got 6 cards from this set. These come from the Scene box, which is something they did with Lord of the Rings, where you can buy this box, you get these 6 cards and a couple of boosters and some art cards and stuff. But this is a Spider-Man version of those cards. Richard, I know you're hyped for this set. Why don't you guide us through some spoilers? But before we get to the cards, what do you guys think of the look of these cards? Because I know when we talk about these like comic book, the IPs and whatever, a lot of it's about flavor. Does it actually kind of fit the vibe? Richard, you're the art critic on the podcast. What do you think of this art style?
I do know nothing about art. The art critic. It looks like Spider-Man cards. You know what I mean? Like the art fits the general image in your head when you think of like art. So I really like them. They're also borderless cards. So when Wizards does borderless treatment, they usually do different art, right? Than when it's in the frame. But so far, this is A+. Like I was telling Seth, like if you saw these on like some Topps Spider-Man set or something at Target, you're like, yeah, it looks fine, right? So it's not like Magify Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man. The Spider-Man you expect. It's Venom, the Venom you expect, right? So I'm all for it.
It does look like the comics, and Wizards actually confirmed that for the Marvel sets, they're really focused on the comics and not the movies. And these cards, if you put them in the right order, they actually make like a panorama thing, which is part of the borderlessness. So that's also kind of cool. Krim, what do you think of the aesthetic of these cards?
Yeah, they look exactly like how I imagine Spider-Man has, right? And like
the T-Wolves beat the Suns yesterday, 116-98. Hey, you had 44-7, man. Your boy JR back. How you feeling, B-Head?
I don't feel good about it, man. You should have missed another 13.
That's crazy.
But we got the dub, man.
Yeah, he's definitely out the last 13 games. Now they defense trips, I hope that was 24 as well. Listen, man, at this point, we just said,
Harris Belafonte.
There we go. Boom, I know I'll find you. There you go. Shout out to Harris Belafonte. Yeah, I know I'll find you, niggas.
He's dead. R.I.P.
I know he did. Harris Belafonte. I know that's who he is. There you go, Harris B.
Your black butchers look white.
Yeah. No, we don't. They're like, that's the thing.
He never got the hairline.
Alright, come on.
The real D white.
I told you I'll find you.
Oh man,
I know my history.
can you please put a video up? It was a belt ass situation. And much talk about this game. You know, the Suns is just they're trying to get
Cool.
Yeah,
But y'all see they said they're gonna trade KD in the summer.
yeah, they are. Yeah,
Are
they
we
are.
gonna talk about that?
Yeah, they're definitely gonna trade him. They're trying to keep a pick at some cost, so they're not trying to win.
What teams are gonna be on the table?
Yeah, it's time for the KD
You think
situation.
Coach Bud gonna get fired though?
Yes.
After 1 year, you think they're gonna take Coach Bud out?
And now, I mean, that's Jeff Mans.
After he told Devin Booker to be quiet in the huddles? Yes.
That sounds like some Coach Bud shit. He probably like, yo, just relax. He probably ain't even say it like they probably like, just relax in the huddle.
They probably want to sit down.
But Brad Beal messed up one of the best oops in NBA history.
I do this on 2K all the time. I ain't shaking his hand though on that. They ain't gonna foul?
No. What?
He said, fuck it, FT got away with it. When he did me like that.
Full circle moment.
I wouldn't have picked him up though.
Ooh, that was perfect, Dante.
Look at that bitch up too.
Good pass, bro.
How that's not a foul though?
People said, "Why that's not flagrant too?" Yeah,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Brad
He
Beal
was
should
got
got
hurt.
kicked. He got kicked out of the game.
Yeah, because he could hit his head on the backboard.
Yeah.
You pushed him directly, yeah, bro. Thank God he fell alright. Thank God
Yeah,
he's alright. That's messed up.
Take me out, bro, because I'm about to crash out. That's what I would say. Take me out, bro.
In the air. Oh, Lord.
I'm about to
that's-
crash out.
Let me get my shit off. Just get out the way, bro.
For
Don't
sure.
play with my health like that, bro. I'm a franchise nigga, bro.
Because you really don't care that much.
Yeah,
no
you
more, bro.
definitely don't.
Yeah, Brad is a funny nigga. That's just a situation.
But
That's tough.
You think? I think maybe at the most Bug gets another year if they trade KD. But after that, with Devin Booker stuff, I don't know.
But I think if they trade KD, you're gonna see the Suns, and it's not KD fault, but they gonna have more continuity.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot. I told you, Coach Bud do a lot better with less.
Yeah.
He's gonna find some blue guys, some guys that he can, build around D Book, make D Book the focal point, and it's gonna be a lot smoother for them. But with all that talent over there, it's just too much for him on his plate. And he used to that San Antonio shit where everybody buying in. It ain't the same.
Ask how long y'all think before Book get up out of Phoenix?
I mean, he could. D Book might could demand a trade, but I'll be surprised. But
That's his franchise to lose at this point.
yeah, but I mean, there ain't nothing over there for him. I like to see him.
We dropped the dub.
Yeah. Big. That's a good hand, though. Too much mana. What?
I'll see this through till the end. I don't move without knowing my target. get a read on the situation. I don't move without knowing my target. me get a read on the situation. I've done my research. what you deserve.